So here's a simple question. Is it reasonable to stand to be a Member of Parliament in the full knowledge that you won't be able to go to Parliament and represent the people that actually seek to have their views heard in that place? Because that's exactly the position with Peter Robinson, the DUP leader and outgoing MP for East Belfast. Peter has made it clear this past week that if elected, he will continue to stay at Stormont and therefore will only be available at Westminster when the opportunity presents itself for him. In other words, Peter will be there when it suits him, but most of the time he won't be there. That means that for the majority of time, the voters of East Belfast will not have a voice in Parliament. And there's nothing new about this. If we look at Peter Robinson's record over the past 5 years, it shows that he has attended just 1/3 of votes. So 2/3 of the time, Peter isn't there, Peter's not representing your view, Peter is missing in action. That's why when we look at the voting records of Members of Parliament for the last Parliament, we discover that the DUP leader and First Minister comes 619th out of 640 MPs. Is that something to be proud of, or is that something to be ashamed of? Because if Peter Robinson feels any shame on his wretched voting performance, why does he then say that he will do exactly the same if he's let in for another 5 years? And this cuts to the core of the issue. If you want to have your voice heard at Westminster, you have to have an MP who will be at Westminster. That's exactly what I promise you. If elected, I will be there. I understand the importance of being there in the chamber to make sure that your voice is heard at all times. And I think that's a fundamental contract between a prospective Member of Parliament and the electorate. It's just not fair to stand knowing that you're not going to be able to do the job. I mean, that smacks of being, at the very least, disingenuous. It's not right to take the expenses and whatever element of salary it attracts, in the case of Robinson, in the knowledge that your primary interest is to be somewhere else. So a part-timer looking to do a full-time job is just not a very tempting proposition. The voters of East Belfast, however, for more than 30 years have shown that they reject the kind of flaccid, limp-wristed liberal unionism that has been on offer. And in this time round, in the shape of Trevor England, that's what they're going to get more of. So those strong-minded unionist voters have really only one choice if they want to have a tough-minded unionist representing them at Westminster, and that is to vote for the TUV candidate, being myself. I can assure you that I'm very clear on my priorities. I know exactly where I need to be, which is at the heart of government at Westminster, and therefore that is a fundamental difference between TUV and the other unionist candidates standing in this constituency. If you vote for those parties that have shortchanged you in the past, then nothing will change. The only way to bring about real change is to vote TUV. Thanks for listening.